We are Be Well Health and Wellness Consultants, and we're inviting you into our toughest and most honest conversations with each other.
We believe in honest, educated, science-based health promotion and that everyone should have access to this kind of information.
Tune in to hear our hearts for you as we uncover the not-so-pretty side of the health and wellness industry on the Healthy is Hard podcast. Awesome. Hello, my name is Bailey, and this is Tony, and we are Be Well Health and Wellness Consultants. Welcome to the very first ever episode of the Healthy is Hard podcast. We are so excited that you're here, and we're so excited to chat with you today about what healthy actually means. That is the core of our business. So again, my name is Bailey. I am a nutritional scientist, owner of this lovely business, and nutrition counselor for what we do as Be Well HWC. This is my business partner and fitness consultant, Tony.
Hello, how are you?
I am so excited. This is going to be so much fun. You are listening into a live, real, and raw conversation between two experts in the health and wellness industry. We are really giving you our honest opinions as experts of our fields. So what that means is that there may be a few things that you don't want to hear about, but we're going to talk about them anyway and open up the conversation because we believe that everyone should have access to the information that we're sharing. It shouldn't be you have to go and pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to see this specialist. You should know a base foundation of what healthy means.
Definitely.
Yeah, so the reason that we're starting this podcast is because there is just so much misinformation out there on what healthy really means. And truly healthy means different things to different people. So what healthy means to me is actively searching out and living in a space where you're promoting health and providing your body what it needs to live a long life without disease. So to me, in my opinion, health is disease prevention, because right now we live in a system where it's more so sick care than it is health care, and that really is the truth. You come and work with people like us after you've already seen doctors and they can't figure out what's wrong with you, instead of searching out help like this, information and education like this, before you even get to that point where you have something that is wrong and you need help. I saw this firsthand with my mom, who is a stage 4 ovarian cancer survivor. She is 3.5 years actually, cancer-free now. And that is entirely the work of both the medical side and the holistic side of healthcare. She went through chemo, radiation, chemo again, then chemo again. And then she had a major surgery that left her with some really serious complications, and as well as radiation complications. She was dealing with some really tough issues, and she switched her diet. She added in some vitamins, supplements, and lemon water, which we'll talk about at some point. And completely any complication she was left over with, she does not have anymore, because of the more natural kind of remedies that she tried and just listened to her body and what worked for her. So seeing that transition actually made me transition out of the pre-pharmacy field into the nutrition field. And so I have my bachelor's in nutritional science and am studying every single day new techniques, new things. Research is just a part of my being. At my core, I love to learn new things and be able to share them with you all so that you have that same basic understanding of what you can be doing to promote health. In my case, obviously, I'm very focused on preventing cancer in my own body, and that is something that I can do, even though it's a genetic thing and I am predisposed to develop cancer. That doesn't mean that I have to get it. You can turn your genes on and off to do different things. And that's kind of what we help you do, is really, in essence, kind of hack your body and just learn how to change your DNA, really.
Yeah, definitely. And see, I have a whole different viewpoint of the health and wellness field because you were more introduced from like more chronic diseases and problems to that such. And so for me, I was always stuck on body image. And that is what I see currently is the biggest issue in the health and wellness field right now. So for people who don't know me, I used to be a very overweight. I was probably, I want to say, one of the heaviest kids that went to my high school. And when I went into college, I was an art major at the time, and I was a college athlete. But I started to feel like crap every single day because that weight was starting to carry down on me. So something clicked in my mind. My mother, she was always very pushy into fitness and working out and being healthy. And so I finally just like attached a chain onto her and started following her and going to the gym at 4 a.m. with her, and had some accountability. And that's something we could talk about a lot as well. And so once I started getting into the weight loss, I transitioned over to exercise science. So that is what my bachelor's is in, is health promotion and exercise science. So now after I've lost 105 pounds, I've kind of veered away from how I look because I know that's, in my opinion now, because my definition of healthy went from body image to now how you feel mentally and physically. If just because you look good, that doesn't mean you're healthy.
Absolutely.
That's just plain and simple. And so trying to find that healthy mind state is what is really the end game for me. Because why do you want to live a miserable diet life and not be able to enjoy the things you did as a kid? You can still do that as an adult as long as you have that balance in your life. Why strict yourself all the time just to look amazing, just like that perfect picture model that you see in the magazine? I don't find that drive anymore. So for me, it's all about body movement, functionality, and just overall well-being for yourself. So that is my viewpoint in health.
I want to tell you guys a story really fast. Okay, so Tony and I actually went to high school together, and here we are, how many years later? A few.
Yeah.
But like, I'd say a couple, maybe 2 years after I graduated. Tony is a couple years or grade or two older than I am.
I believe two, I want to say.
I saw him in the gas station one day. I was on a coffee run for work when I was working at the pharmacy in town, and he came over and stopped me as getting people their creamer. And he came over and stopped me and he was like, "Hey, how are you?" And I looked at him. He was like, "You don't know who I am, do you?" And after he spoke, I was like, "Tony?" So I am not even kidding you all. The transformation of this man literally left, he was unrecognizable. And to see him in this state of not only achieving his physical goals, but also being in a really healthy mind state is so cool. Just to see the change. And that's something else I think is really important in our field. It takes a special type of person to do what we do because it's so humbling, because science is always changing. So what we are based off of is science. We offer science-based education, no matter how that comes. Okay, so research is not always just the one side that you're seeing. We go into each and everything that we can find to make sure that we're getting the truth and being able to share that with you. And so I just think it's really important to touch on the fact that we may tell you something and then 6 months later a new study comes out that shares, hey, maybe that wasn't quite exactly the right thing. And the difference here is that we are able to go back and say, hey, do you guys remember that episode we did or that thing we shared with you in our coaching session? Well, here's a new piece of research that we found that gives us a better idea of what we can be doing to help you. And a lot of people won't do that.
Yeah.
And that's how we've really experienced our growth personally and professionally, is being able to go back to that and say, hey, this is important, okay? This is literally life or death. And it just blows my mind sometimes that you'll see people hanging on to that mindset, that diet culture, that one research article that they found years and years and years ago, and not be like, hey, I was right at the time, but here's some new evidence, here's new research. Because it's not about us, it's about you guys, right? And so I just think that's a really important place to start, so that you all know where our hearts and minds and souls are coming just really honestly for you all, for the good of the greater people, to be
Yeah.
quite honest.
Science is always changing. And
Always.
at the end of the day, you can't say science without just life in general. Regardless of how you look at science, your life is what you need to realize and what's going on inside of it. I always tell people, don't follow a general guideline that you see online, because just because it works for one person doesn't mean it's going to work for you. I've tried. My body's been changing constantly for the last 6 years that I've started this whole transformation for myself. I've done all the fad diets. I've found out what works and what doesn't work. Workouts. I know people look at me, how'd you put on so much muscle mass in this such amount of time? Oh, you must be doing steroids. No, I've self-experimented for quite a long time, and I know how to alter how my body changes and functions. You can't just do a quick fix, and that's another big issue in this world. If somebody has a disease and they go to the doctor, what's the doctor going to do? Prescribe them with, oh, here's a pill you can take. Why don't you prescribe them with an exercise plan or a nutrition plan? That's something that does bother me in that profession. And yeah, those pills can fix it short term, but what are you going to do long term? Your body is not made for a pill that's man-made, essentially. Then that's why people like Bailey studies the nutrition and the whole foods and foods that literally grow from the earth that we're born on. That is your pill. People don't realize that. That is what you need to find.
Yeah, it is such a balance, and honestly kind of, I'll just say it's difficult, because it's one of those things where people think, they see my title and they think she must eat perfectly every single day, like she only eats grass. Okay, well, that's not true, just so you know. When you work with a real professional that understands body chemistry, anatomy, cellular organization, literally all the different things. My focus of study is how the food that you eat actually breaks down in your body and affects your organs. So there are so many different levels of nutrition professions, and each of them look at a different kind of level. So there's, a lot of dietitians just look at sort of the base level, what do you need to be doing to fix this? A lot of dietitians work in a space where it's a medical need. And so they're mostly just kind of surface level looking at, what can you do to reduce your symptoms? Someone on my end looks at it and says, what can we be doing? How can we be using these foods, these medications that the earth is giving us, to actually alter our DNA and completely reverse what's going on? Because a lot of times that is a possibility. And people think I'm some kind of witchcraft doctor when I say that, but I have the science and the education in the background to show you how. And that's why I'm so passionate, because it's information that's not widely shared, but it is available. And I just think it's crazy that you can go to a doctor and just get this pill really fast. And here's my stance on it, because I think that doctors, we both do, are so important. They play a vital role, but they have their job, and their job is not to share nutrition and fitness and holistic advice with you. They went to school to learn about what's wrong with you, and their job literally is to prescribe you something. Your job as the patient is to care enough about yourself to know that that's one of many options, and that you can go and take that medication and then take it to a nutrition, a fitness, an acupuncture, a chiropractor professional, and share with them what's going on and work in both fields simultaneously to use the benefit of the medication short term and come up with a plan long term to help you veer away from that medication if at all possible and live an overall healthier lifestyle. And that is, I think, my biggest difficulty that I run into is that some people, I will say it's come a long, long way, even since I entered the field 6 months ago. It's come such a long way in terms of doctors and other professionals wanting to work together instead of pushing apart so hard, because for such a long time it's been that way. And doctors have been seen as, you know, the cure-all, the one-stop shop, and it's not meant to be that way. We all have to work together. There is still such a need for doctors, but they're all overworked and, in my opinion, underpaid because they're doing a job that's not theirs to do. Yeah. And patients are expecting them to do it and be good at it, and then are really upset when it doesn't work because it's not their place to be giving advice in.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. My great aunt also had cancer. She had stage 3 colon cancer, and she went to the doctor for her kind of 6-month checkup. She's also cancer-free. So if you all don't believe me, we have the proof here, people, that you really can do things to help yourself stay in a healthy place, even if you've already experienced a chronic illness. Okay. But she went to her primary care physician for a regular checkup, follow-up, and her cholesterol was a little bit high, and she's also had a heart attack in the past, and so her doctor was a bit concerned. Here's where it went wrong. Her doctor should have said, hey, your cholesterol is really high. Have you ever considered, working with someone on your diet to see what you can do about that? Or, consider taking this medication. Instead, that's what she should have done. She should have said, hey, I can prescribe you this medication, or, have you thought about going to someone else? Either, find them on your own, or here I have a recommendation for you. What she did instead was tell my aunt that her cholesterol was high and that she needed to stop eating carbs and eat more protein. And I just want to tell you all, if you're listening today, that is the opposite of what you need to do if your cholesterol is elevated. You need to consume more grains, which are carbohydrates, which feed your brain also. And you need to consume less protein, because proteins have that added saturated fat, which helps contribute to cholesterol buildup. Mm-hmm. So that's just a really great example. And thankfully, my aunt had the good sense to call me after that appointment and be like, hey, this is what my doctor said. What's your recommendation? And I said, to be entirely transparent with you all, I said, please call that doctor back and tell her she's an idiot. But I was able to tell her, hey, that's actually not what you need to be doing. Here's what you need to do instead. Mm-hmm. Very base level, of course. And then when she comes to me and says, hey, I need specific help, we can get into her genetic makeup, all the things, and get really specific with that. But there are general things that people can do. However, you need to get that general information from someone who knows what it is, not some random influencer on the internet telling you that this is a healthy snack and that you should be eating carrots and hummus every day, and that's it.
Essentially, people get generally, I want to say, brainwashed to thinking that medicine is the cure for any problem that they come across. And it's funny because I was going to say the whole cholesterol situation. If you go to the doctor and you have high cholesterol, boom, take this blood thinner or cholesterol pill and it'll lower your cholesterol. Well, do you want to just take a pill for the rest of your life? Do you have to remember to take that pill before you go to bed? Or you can take that pill, but maybe start changing your diet, start exercising, and then boom, in a month, you can already be off that pill. People that get diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, that's reversible. You can take the doctor's advice, or you can go to one of us and change that. I know my buddy's dad got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. He lost, I think that gave him that motivation, like, wow, I need to get myself together. I saw him about 2 months ago and I looked at him, I was like, wow. It's kind of like you saw me in the gas station. I was like, I looked at my buddy, I was like, dude, your dad looks good right now, like, to be honest. And I was like, how much weight did he lose? She's like, he lost about 50 pounds. And I was like, it's only been about 5 months. Like, stop expecting results to come the next day. Like, 5 months is really not that long. If you're lost it in that tracking of trying to lose weight, trying to get healthier, that time's going to fly by. And then you're going to look in the mirror again and be like, wow, I did that. Now he doesn't even have to take the pills. His diet, he told me his diet, and there's definitely things that I argued against that his doctor was trying to tell him. And like I said, the diet also depends on how his body reacts to how the diet is. His diet, when he told me it, I've tried that diet before and it does not work. And if you want me to clarify what the diet is, it was the keto diet, which is probably the biggest, the most popular diet that's going on right now. And people think that if they just take carbs out, and hey, I'll eat 300 grams of carbs in one day and not gain a single body pound, right?
And that
people, and the thing is with carbs is you need carbs. It's literally the fuel to how you think. Literally the number one source of fuel for your brain. And yeah, you need the fats. There's healthy fats, but when I hear people say the keto diet, I say, what'd you eat? I was at school when I was at Shepherd. I go to the cafeteria. This guy said he was on the keto diet. You know, he ate? He got a bacon, egg, and cheese, took the croissant off, ate the egg and the bacon, and then slobbered mayonnaise on top of it. Oh, I'm on the keto diet. No, you're on the let me raise my cholesterol diet even more.
Yeah.
Like, people need to self-research. I guess the moral of our story is self-awareness, and don't assume what somebody tells you just because they have that professional title. I understand they do have the professional title and they work their butt off to get to that point, but that does not make them very knowledgeable in one field, because there's millions of people in this world that have the same focus as that person, but could have learned something completely different because they're from a different region of this world.
And what I really want to touch on what he said there is, just because they have the title doesn't mean they have the information. And most times, if you are working with a professional, and I think this is another dividing line, if you're working with a professional that really is passionate about what they're doing, they will tell you that they're not equipped to give you that information. I stop and say, hey, like, I don't know that much about fitness. You need to go talk to Tony or to some of these other people I know. He did it last week. He said someone referred someone to Tony for a nutrition plan. And he said, hey, you know, this isn't my area of expertise. He sent that referral to me. A doctor that really understands what their purpose is and knows that they can't. And here's another thing. Some doctors do go into the nutrition side or the exercise science side, and they do have the ability to share that information with you. If they don't, if they're just a regular doctor, diagnostician is really kind of the basis of what they are. They tell you what's wrong with you and they're able to give you a fix, which is a medication.
Basically, a primary care doctor.
Right. And if they should be able to say, hey, you know, I'm not really educated and well-versed in this field. Here's a referral I can send you to if that's something you're interested in. That is so important. I promise we will give you all another episode just on the keto diet, because you can tell we have lots of feelings and we don't have time to flesh them out. today. But that is something that we're actually going to transition into next episode, is sharing about, these different professions and how to know that you're getting what you need and that you're working with the right person, because there are millions of people, there are millions of professions, and I honestly believe that we need every single one. But we have to be able to draw that line and say, hey, this isn't me. I'm going to send you to someone else. And most people, especially on the internet, so I'll give you a little teaser here, especially on the internet, don't necessarily care about you as the individual. They care about getting famous, getting rich quick, and selling you something that may work short term, but just isn't sustainable, isn't even necessarily true, and they just don't even really know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I actually have a perfect example for that. So I had somebody, a friend of mine, if she's watching this, here's the truth. She came up to me and asked me, how much do I charge for a fitness plan? Because she likes to compete. Well, she came up to me, I gave her the price, and she was like, oh, wow, really? That's very affordable. And she was like, let me finish what I have. It's about a week left, and then I'll come to you and we'll talk. It's like, all right, perfect. Just let me know. That week and a half later, she says, wow, this new plan that I have is amazing. I was like, okay, I thought you were going to come to me. She was like, no, I found this guy in Ohio. And yet again, we live 5 hours away. And I was like, oh, let me see that guy's profile. And of course, his profile picture was an 8-pack of abs. And I literally saw one certification. And he didn't certify. He competed. He was just a bodybuilder. But that tells you that the body image of this whole industry is what is selling people. I have the experience, I have the book knowledge, and I mean, I have the proof of how to change the body, but yet they don't see that I have a washboard pack of abs, so they don't necessarily direct right into me. You know what I'm saying? They don't have that mental drive, because I'm not picture perfect like the magazine shows you. So, and that's the brainwash that I go back to, is just this industry is so blind to what really can happen, just because like I don't have that body image. And
which comes back to that mindset aspect of health and wellness. You have to have that secured before you do anything else, because if you're doing it for the wrong reasons, you're not going to get the results that you want, and you're going to come up short every single time on fulfillment. The goal's just going to keep changing because you're not really in that space to actually receive what's going on yet. So that's the perfect segue into next episode. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us today. It was so much fun. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Check back next week. We are going to go straight into talking about professionalism and staying in your lane. So that one's going to get a little heated.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, we are so excited to just be able to share this information with you all and have you receive it. Whatever you learned today, send us a message, drop a comment on this video. We want to know what you're learning and what you want to hear next. Drop us some suggestions, send us some research, as you find that we are always open to learning more. That is why we love what we do. Thank you guys. We will see you next week. Tony, thanks, brother. I'm excited for next one. See you guys soon. It was our greatest honor to take up space in your world today. Please share this episode to your social media pages and tag us at BeWellHWC. Cheers to you, friend, for choosing better for yourself starting today. It won't be easy, but it'll be worth it. Subscribe to the show and learn how to make healthy less hard, one tip at a time.